Hey there, Kyle here with Detailing Cape Cod. Just wanted to clarify some things about clay. So I've had a few customers ask me things about clay, and one of the big misconceptions we get is about clay polish, people will say, or they'll say, hey, I have some scratches, so if you could clay the vehicle. So clay comes in a couple different forms. Right here we have this is a clay mitt. If I could kind of show you, it's a kind of a texture to it, and that will actually clay the vehicle. That's a synthetic clay, we like to call that. And then we also have this, which is your tried and true clay, and they call it clay because it's basically clay. So what do we use clay for? Why do we use clay? People use fancy words like bonded contaminants. What that means is basically stuff from the road or stuff from the environment that ends up on your vehicle. I have a white vehicle in here that I'm going to try to show you some of these bonded contaminants. A lot of them, I'd say 90% of the time, what we're seeing, what we're claying off the vehicle is actually from the brakes. So you have tiny little metal fibers, really minute little metal fibers. Every time you press the brakes and they clamp, that stuff is coming off your brakes and it's then landing on your vehicle. Those tiny little metal flakes will then actually rust on the vehicle. So you end up with all these orange specks all over the car. And because of the way vehicles are, the airfoil, they actually tend to end up on the back because the air wraps around your vehicle and it kind of, circles and gets everything onto the rear end of the car. So I'm going to show you real quick what I'm talking about. It'll also be heaviest behind the tires and on the lowers. We can also find it on brand new vehicles. When they're shipped from the factory, they come either on a train or on a truck. So on a train, we refer to that as rail dust. And basically same thing. You have metal, tiny little metal shards, metal fibers flying through the air and ending up on the vehicle. When it's on a car carrier, your typical car carriers, and have the two levels to it, and you can have little metal fibers again coming off those, and that's when we see it on the tops of the vehicle. So we'll find, the little metal fibers or basically the contaminants, the little orange spots on the tops when they're brand new. So typically though, a vehicle that's driven, that's used, it's on the lowers of the vehicle, coming from the road, coming from the brakes, that kind of thing. One of the products we have, you may have seen stuff about it, is a iron decon or decontamination. And a lot of companies make these. And one cool thing about them is they actually turn the fibers purple. So basically, when we spray an area that has contaminants, we'll start to see this product turn purple. So you can see we have this stuff. We use iron free by Nanoskin. And one funny thing about these products is they all smell to high heaven. They are the worst smelling product you could ever use, and they make our shop stink. If you were to ever come into our shop and go, oh my God, what is that? That's what we're using. And one funny thing too is it actually reminds me of when my grandmother would get a perm. It must be the same chemical or something because it's in there and it smells exactly like a perm getting done. So anyways, back to the car. So I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but here on the paint, let me try to get my camera to zoom. There are a ton of tiny little flakes. So it's kind of hard to see. It almost makes the paint look dirty. So you can see this paint is actually clean. We've washed it, but I'm not sure if you could see any of the little orange specks. So there's one right here. I'm not sure if you could see that. And that one's more visible, but basically this whole area is full of them. A lot of times when it has stuff on there, when you touch it and rub it with your hand, you can actually hear kind of like a grainy sound. But I'll show you the product that'll actually highlight kind of and show us, you know, yeah, there's a lot of contaminants on here. So we spray that on. As you can see, it goes on and you don't see any purple yet. As it sits on there for a little bit, you can actually see all these little dots starting to turn purple, and they'll actually start to run. So it's kind of hard to see, but there's little trails running off of them. And you could probably see it a lot better on the video now, all those little specks. So it does a nice job of showing you kind of what's on the vehicle. That's just part of one of the steps that we take on every vehicle, you know, when it's in for exterior detail or what have you, is to actually spray this on there. Helps to loosen the stuff off. You'll hear detailers refer to two things, or you'll read about, and that is chemical decontamination and mechanical decontamination of the paint. So the chemical decontamination is what I just showed you. If you have a really light contamination using a product like Nanoskin Iron Free or many of the other ones, will actually loosen up that the fallout and the contaminants. And we go around with a pressure washer afterwards, and most of it will be removed. But I personally don't think that the chemical removes everything, ever. So it does help to loosen it. I notice when we treat the area first, and then we go around with the mechanical decontamination afterwards, which is your clay or your synthetic clay, it comes off a lot easier. So you spend less time. So now that we've kind of shown that, what we're doing now is actually cleaning the vehicle. So we use a product called ONR, Optimum No Rinse, which can be used as a clay lube. So clay will, even a fine clay, will mar the paint if you do not have it properly lubricated. So when we then go and, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but when we then go and clay the area, we remove all those little dots. And we'll end up with a nice clean surface, which needs to be done prior to any ceramic coatings. So the coating needs to bond to the paint. So anything that's on the paint that's getting in the way of the coating bonding is going to, you know, make the coating not bond properly and fail early. What else do I say about clay? It does not remove scratches. It does not polish the paint. It definitely makes the paint look a lot better. So this whole side of this vehicle has been done. And like I said, it will look dirty. It'll make the paint look a little bit dirtier, and it'll take away that appearance of gloss. So a lot of times we'll clay a vehicle to really make it look a lot glossier. And it'll be cleaner. It'll actually clean up easier. So once we say wax it or we ceramic coat it, and then you go and get a hard rain, that road, you know, film or what have you will come off much easier on a vehicle that's clayed, where the paint is smooth and there's not a bunch of, you know, it's not rough. So, you know, if you wash your vehicle and you notice you're drying it and you're going around the lowers and it feels rough, you probably have a lot of bonding contaminants on there and your vehicle needs to be clayed. Wintertime, you know, over the winter, we tend to end up with a lot of stuff on our paint. Basically just the road film and this and that. We've also seen overspray. So if somebody was painting near your vehicle, and some of the spray from that, paint got in the air, landed on your vehicle, clay will remove that as well. So, that's the idea. Basically, anything that's bonded and is contaminating your paint, that doesn't come off with just a simple wash, a clay will typically remove. But it is not going to remove scratches. It is not going to, polish the paint or anything like that. It is basically, the detailer's way of really cleaning the paint and prepping it. You'd want to do that before you even polish and buff the paint, because otherwise that stuff ends up in your buffing pads and then can cause a haze. It can cause, scratching or just not being able to polish the paint properly. You want clean paint when you polish and when you ceramic coat. And yeah, so I hope that answers some questions and resolves some issues about clay, what clay is and what clay does. Again, my name is Kyle. I'm the owner over at Detailing Cape Cod. We're located in Sandwich. We have 2 locations now. One for the typical detailing, interior and exterior detailing, and then we have another location in Sandwich, which is strictly for ceramic coatings and expel paint protection film. That's the bay I am in now. You guys are probably familiar with the bay we have over at the Sandwich Car Wash. So we do all the detailing over there. And then we have this nice little new location for our paint protection, like ceramic coatings and expel. I have a bunch left on this. I have to finish claying the entire vehicle, and then we're going to give it a polish, and then we are going to ceramic coat it. And by we, I mean me. So, a lot left to do today. All right, any questions, anything like that, you can find us on Facebook, Detailing Cape Cod. You can find us on YouTube, I think I have it on there. And we also are on the web at detailingcapecod.com. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.